Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything.
Today we're talking with Argos MacCullum, who has lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico since 1967 and has worked as a carpenter, plasterer, ranch manager, furniture maker, scene shop manager, as well as a film and stage actor and stage director. His chapbook, She Loved Gravity and Would Fall Down Exquisitely Anywhere, was published in 1987. He has worked with many theater companies in Santa Fe and is an artistic director and co-founder of Teatro Argos, a bilingual theater promoting contemporary Latinx theater, children's theater, New Mexico playwrights, and poetry readings since 2004. His poems have been published in Malpay Review, Lummox Anthology, PoetryXHunger.com, The Magazine, WildWord.net, and Poetry London Apple Magazine. Welcome, Argos. I'm just so excited to talk to you about happiness.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, I always start with the same question, which everybody seems to just love to answer, and that is, what really makes you happy in life? I mean, are you passionate about something in particular?
Having grown up in a theater family, yes, my passion is theater. I've been involved in theater all my life. I also am very fortunate to have built a house out in the country near Santa Fe, New Mexico, and it's so enjoyable being on the land, I go back and forth between the theater and my little house. So yeah, I was been pondering about this question: what is happiness all week? And it's a quality that one can't actively search for. I don't think. I think it's something that is happens when one is engaged in something. And in my case, it's theater. Often when, like for instance, right now we have a children's theater up right now. We have 40 kids in a theater program at Teatro Argos. They are producing a show called The Boy Who Would Be King. And it's always amazing to see when a person really catches on to what is theater. And theater is a cycling of energy. It's a bonding. It's a communication between the audience and the actors. It's an energy flow, and that when one sees that in an actor, it doesn't have to be a kid. It can be a grown-up. When they finally get the role, they get the context, they understand the play. And the play is about something in the human experience that grabs them. And when that moment happens, that makes me happy. When I see that that flow of energy is happening in the theater.
That's fascinating, because I have been in the theater myself and done a lot of performing and so forth. Now, of course, we all understand what that you have to connect to the audience, right? So when that flow of energy connects to the audience, it's a give and take. Do you think that actually happens in life also? And that energy in life, the flow of energy with other people and with nature, because you said you go between nature, which is your home, right, in the country,
Yes.
and the theater, which is somewhat of a manufactured reality, isn't it?
Well, yes. Theater is a cultural construct, but it's rooted in the experience when the hunter came back to the campfire and explained, did the dance of how he tracked that deer down and how he confronted the deer and how the deer sacrificed itself so that the hunter and the people could eat. So theater has such a long tradition. I was curious, where did this word happiness come from? And I was looking in the dictionary, and the etymology, I think that's the right word, where the word came from wasn't spelled out too clearly, but it's curious, the definitions that were there, like lucky, fortunate, blessed, having great satisfaction, favored by circumstance, bliss, joyous, and so there's a lot, it's kind of a lot of handles on that word happiness.
Right.
But I think, if a person is engaged, and also happiness only happens if there's not stress or misfortune or tragedy. It's ecological and existential circumstances which so many people in the world are facing at the moment.
Right.
The number of people who have food insecurity is just staggering. And close to 1 billion. So happiness isn't happening everywhere, but when one has the ability to, and the energy, the insight, the foresight to be able to engage in something that is meaningful, that helps oneself, helps one's community. I think that's the wellspring of happiness. I don't think one can go out and say, okay, today I am happy. I'm going to get some happiness. I think it's a very organic but very complex process of gaining happiness.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Isn't that interesting? When you say it's organic, obviously that means connected to the person, that particular person and their perception of reality, right? And
yes,
all their memory base and everything that's happened to them in their life. And so and then you have, the perception of reality and organic, and then you have people who say, I'm going to be happy, right? In other words, do you think people who maybe have had very, very unfortunate circumstances in their life, once they get at least basic things satisfied, basic realities in their life, that be food and shelter and clothing, etc. We have to have our survival covered. Most people feel that they have to have their survival covered. Once that happens, then is it possible, do you think, to decide that you're going to be happy? In other words, people can make themselves happy. They can make choices. They can change the way they perceive things, etc.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible. If one has all the existential support that one needs, and has a chance to be able to conduct one's life without stress or any force trying to impinge on one's life or limit it or even end it. Then it's possible to. I think, I'm convinced that every human being has some incredibly unique contribution to make in the world. Like when I walk down the street and I pass somebody, possibly that person is the world's foremost authority on Hungarian folk songs of the 18th century or something. Some incredible, important. Everything in the human experience is so important, but some sort of contribution that one can make. And I think in contributing to the well-being of oneself, one's family, one's community, I think that is the route to happiness. When one is fully engaged and living, striving for one's potential.
Fantastic idea. So fully engaged, contributing. How about the concept of gratefulness? That people have told me in the past that was an avenue toward becoming happy yourself. In other words, grateful for what you have and then contributing to yourself, to your family, because compassion is a way of contributing, right? And so we have compassion for ourselves, we have compassion for our family, we have compassion for our community. Giving to other people somehow makes you happy. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, I see it so much in the theater too. We work so hard in the theater always under a deadline, and always under financial obligations. But the process of coming together as a group, having trust for each other, having a certain playfulness, willingness to experiment, and I think you brought up the word compassion, and I think that's quite the vehicle for happiness. Compassion, where one drops all of one's judgments or preconceived notions or biases, and is able to look at one's fellow human being on the stage or off the stage, and be able to relate and exchange and create a meaningful experience. So I think there are many avenues to happiness, but it's not. Well, I'm still not convinced that one can say, "Oh, I'm going to wake up happy today," because I think it's more like, what am I doing today that forwards my life experience, the life experience of others? How do I think helping people is a surefire way to arrive at happiness.
One of the things. Let me just say that when I wake up, I've trained myself because the Dalai Lama talks about this. He said, just when you wake up, if you don't have another person there, look at the wall or look out the window, and just the first thing you do in life when you wake up is to smile. Just smile. And you'd be amazed what that does. I have tried that many, many days. I wake up and I go, sometimes you don't even know where you are. You go, oh, wait, you've been sleeping so soundly, right? And then I'll wait a minute. I'll just smile. And I'll smile out the window, and I have pictures of wolves on my wall because I love wolves. And so I'll look at some of these wolves, and I'll smile at these wolves. And I just feel so much better. I mean, it sets you up. There's something about smiling that is very important. The inner smile, they talk about that. So that's one of the ways I just sort of, if I don't really wake up in a bad mood, very, very rarely. I mean, I'm one of those kinds of people. What can I say?
We invite you and yours to an intimate 14-day happiness journey to Bhutan, the lost kingdom of happiness, coming in May of 2024. Experience the magnificent beauty, magic, and mystery of this ancient culture that calculates the gross national happiness of its people. Happiness, Bhutan style, is an adventure of a lifetime. Go to BhutanLostKingdomTours.com and click on Special Tour Packages to download your itinerary for Being in Love with Life, a happiness journey to Bhutan with Miss Sandra McKnight. And remember, celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I have a window that faces the east, and it's I've kind of I never wake up before the sun comes up. It's kind of like, well, being a theater person, we have late hours, so waiting for the sun to come up. And when the sun comes through the window and hits my bookshelf, and I can tell what time of year it is, where the shadow's falling on the wall, whether it's more to the north or to the south. And outside I've got trees, so sometimes if the wind's blowing, the light is actually dancing on my floor and bookcase. So that to me is gives me the courage to wake up, to face the day. I've got all these obligations and deadlines and things I have to do, but just having that sunlight hit is incredible. And then of course I get my coffee, and then I'm ready to. I have a bad habit. I always check out the world news in the morning, just because. There's so many of us on this planet. We're kind of like a overloaded boat. But just to be able to register the fact that some people are not having happiness in their life at the moment, and so that in a sense gives me the energy, the power to do well. Okay, I can't solve everything in this world, but I can go to the theater. I can help so and so. I can make sure that the bills are paid. Whatever, it gives me the courage to go about what I do, to have a place, a theater where happiness can happen. It's always a delight watching the people come out, the audience come out. There's a particular quality of light in their eyes. There's a smile on their face. You were talking about smiles. There's been a real exchange, a real kind of high-level human communication, and that to me is always wonderful to see. That makes me happy to see other people who have been totally immersed and affected, and possibly their life view changed a bit after seeing a theater production.
Right. Because there's not too much we can do about what's going on in the world, but we can do something about how we perceive what's going on in the world. So I think that it's very important to know what is happening. But then from my own personal point of view, I decide, okay, I cannot do too much. I can contribute certain amount of money, et cetera, but I can maintain my own personal energy and make it positive and give it to other people. I've sort of trained myself to do that because I think it's so vitally important. And the theater seems to be a place also that can be done so easily. People go to the theater in order to be uplifted, right? They want to be uplifted. What does that mean? Brought out of the mundane. Or how would you perceive that? If I want to be.
Yeah, I think as human beings, we're able to kind of balance the mundane and the sublime. We wouldn't have the sublime without the mundane. But it's curious. Happiness can even be washing dishes. It's a crazy thing. Putting a little order in one's life. But also, you're right. Trying kind of living to fulfill what one can. Operating at as consciously and as generously as one can, given one's situation. I think that's another. It's a great function in our human makeup, our human body and machine that we can function. We can live to the fullest if there's nothing really impinging on our ability to do so.
So happiness.
Even so, people, it's an incredible story of the Tibetan monks who were imprisoned in Chinese camps, and for many years, and they come out and they say, that was close. I almost lost my compassion for my jailers.
Right.
So a soul like that, even under the I should take back what I was saying earlier, because a soul like that, even under extreme dire conditions, is able to, with their proper training and their commitment to their beliefs, can actually experience happiness or compassion even in the most dire circumstances.
Right, because they're having compassion for their jailers.
Right.
In other words, it keeps them from the opposite, which would be, well, we don't need to go into that. We can all figure out what the opposite would have been, right? And as you say, it takes a certain amount of training. It takes a certain amount of training for them to be able to maintain that. So I've always felt that happiness could be a way of living. We need to create a story where people feel that being peaceful and happy is meaningful in life, as opposed to what? Constantly competing with other people, or trying to be as successful as you can in everything that all your dreams and so forth. I don't say that people shouldn't pursue their dreams. Yes, they should, but I feel very much in a peaceful, happy, genuine, connected way that we're all in this together. So that's sort of my philosophy.
Yeah, I think that's so important. If one's kind of worldview shrinks to oneself, and the situation that one is in. That's not the best way to get to happiness, but it's in the context of the whole planet, of the human family, of one's siblings, of friends, colleagues. In that context, that's where meaning comes in, meaningfulness, and that is that's another approach to happiness. I think we feel that we are contributing, and what we do is meaningful in the world.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we've come up with some really good ideas, Argos. Things that are meaningful, having gratitude for what you have, contributing to other people, the sense of community, learning to trust yourself and to trust others. Any final words that you might have to say about happiness, or about just anything you'd like to say to our listeners?
Well, it just popped in my mind. There's an old saying, and I can't remember where it came from. The world is full of so many things. We should all be as happy as kings.
Where does that come from?
Well, I wish I could remember it. I'm not sure where that came from. I heard it a long time ago in my childhood. So, and things, not only hard physical things, but things like, as you were saying, compassion, trust, community. These are, we could all be as happy as kings on this planet. That's not preposterous.
Absolutely not preposterous. I mean, happy as kings. What a wonderful way to end. Thank you so much, Argos. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sandra. This has been lovely.
Monthly Key to Happiness 23. Take care of your body. You hear it all the time, including several times in our podcasts. But your physical and mental health are closely intertwined. Again, remember, plenty of sleep, eat healthy, exercise, watch your thoughts, and celebrate happiness in your life.
Newsflash. Please sign up for your personal copy of our Keys to Happiness at sandramcknight.com. Thank you for tuning in to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And if you enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing our podcast with your friends and family. Before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Argos MacCullum, for sharing his happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to sandra@sandramcknight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong. You'll find that love is all around. Follow your bliss, no one is against you.